Brunei. Brunei Darussalam. Major city. Bandar Seri Begawan. Other cities. Jayudong, Kuala Beled, Syria. Introduction. The oil and gas-rich state of Brunei, on the northern coast of the island of Borneo, is one of Asia's oldest kingdoms. Early Chinese records refer to it variously as Polo, or Puny. The present sultanate dates to 1514, and the conversion to Islam. During this era, Brunei was the center of a vast empire which stretched far north to the Philippines. By the end of the 19th century, however, most of its power had been lost in the colonial expansion of Southeast Asia. Brunei Darussalam, the country's official name, abode of peace, was a protectorate of the United Kingdom from 1888 to 1984, when it gained full autonomy. For a quarter of a century before independence, it had been a self-governing constitutional monarchy, with the British assuming responsibility for foreign affairs and defense. Major city. Bandar Seri Begawan. The capital and main center of population, approximately 75,000, and site of the only international airport, is Bandar Seri Begawan at the northeastern corner of the main part of the state. Downtown area consists of shops, banks, government offices, and hotels. Several places of interest are situated along the bank of the Brunei River. Food. Subject to seasonal variations and occasional shortages, a wide variety of foods is available in Brunei. Fresh fish, fruits, and vegetables are available locally. Canned and frozen vegetables from the US, Europe, and Australia are sold at supermarkets. Frozen meat and poultry are imported from Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, or the US. Fruit is limited to definite seasons. Apples, peaches, pears, oranges, grapes, and plums are imported seasonally from Australia, New Zealand, and the US. Buy local fruits such as bananas, papayas, pineapples, and grapefruit at outdoor markets and supermarkets. Sterilized milk and powdered milk are available in Brunei. Fresh milk is available but expensive. Any local foods, as well as various Western foods, can be catered. Soft drinks, such as Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up, Sprite, Orange, etc., are available and are inexpensive. Sales of alcoholic beverages are currently prohibited. Clothing. An extensive summer wardrobe is the only type of clothing necessary for Brunei. Order ladies' clothing via mail facilities, but ready-made clothing is available in Brunei. Sizes are limited and fit may be difficult. Ordering usually takes several weeks. Sports attire varies. Men, lightweight summer suits are appropriate for office wear, slacks and sports shirts for casual wear. Acceptable dry cleaners exist. Tails and morning dress are not worn in Brunei. English and US men's shoes, underwear, shirts, neckties, socks, and ready-made suits are available but are expensive, and the selection of sizes, styles, and quality varies. Women, conservative dress is the rule. Bring cotton summer dresses, slacks, skirts, blouses, and pantsuits for all occasions. Shorts are not worn publicly but can be worn at poolside or at beaches. Skirts and blouses, dresses, and pantsuits are worn to the office. Stores selling women's clothing offer various ready-made dresses, skirts, and ensembles at medium to high prices, but sizes, selection, fit, and quality are limited. Lingerie and stockings are available at reasonable prices, but selection is limited. Formal hats and gloves are seldom worn. European shoes of limited sizes are available at varying prices. Children, clothing and shoes for children and babies are available at reasonable prices. A wide variety of fabric is available at reasonable cost. Local dressmakers and tailors have been used with varying degrees of success, but good tailors are expensive. Supplies and services. Toilet articles and cosmetics are available but are much more expensive than in the US. Most common brands of American and British cigarettes, some American brands of cigars and pipe tobacco and smoking accessories are available at prices comparable to, or lower than, US prices. There are local bookstores but prices are 50 to 100% higher than those in the US, and the selection is not good. Several beauty shops in Brunei are available and moderately priced. Religious activities. Both Roman Catholic and Anglican church services are conducted in the downtown area of the city at their respective facilities. Education. Brunei has no American schools. The international school has an essentially British curriculum and provides an adequate education from kindergarten through grade 6. The school operates from 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. But if your child is having difficulty in a subject, bring some additional study materials to assist you in working with your child, as the British system here does not encourage parental involvement as an American school would. Other schools open to expatriate children are mission schools and the Chinese school, which is also adequate through the elementary grades. A good boarding school is available in Singapore. Space at all schools is limited. There is a long waiting list. Sports. Tennis, swimming, badminton, table tennis, billiards, soccer, golf, basketball, sailing, windsurfing, bowling, and squash are available in Brunei. There are 2 golf courses, one at Pantai Mentiri near Bandar Seri Begawan and the other in Syria, which manages the Brunei Shell Recreation Club. Obtain permission to play at both courses in advance. A member of the club must accompany guests. Memberships are available at Pantai Mentiri. Touring and outdoor activities. Omar Ali Saifadian Mosque, a symbol of Brunei's adherence to Islam, is one of the most magnificent in Asia. It is an edifice of classical Islamic architecture consisting of gold mosaic, marble, and stained glass. Its minaret, which has a lift inside and distinctive gold dome, rises to 166 feet and 160 feet. Linked to the mosque and built in the middle of the lagoon is an elegant concrete boat that resembles a 16th-century royal barge. The mosque has been the country's most important feature since its completion in 1958. The official residence of the Sultan of Brunei is the Istana near Al Aiman in Bandar Seri Begawan, which was completed in 1982, and believed to be the largest royal palace in this part of the world. The Sultan of Brunei, as Prime Minister, has offices located in the Istana, which has become a symbol of national pride. In keeping with ancient Brunei, trading the ruler's Istana is the seat of government, and the Council of Cabinet Ministers meets under the presidency of His Majesty. The Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah Aquarium, housed in the Churchill Memorial Building, has various species of tropical fish found in Brunei waters. The Lipa Royal Ceremonial Hall and the Dewan Majlis, Parliament House, form a sprawling complex featuring a blend of traditional Malay and Western architecture. The Lipa, which contains the Padarana, throne, where numerous solemn ceremonies are held, is beautifully decorated in exquisite gold motifs. In the Lipa on August 1, 1968, the Sultan was crowned the 29th Sultan of Brunei. The famed and centuries-old Kampong Air, water village, is composed of several villages housing 38,000 persons. It is an extensive collection of houses on stilts in the Brunei River. The government provides a wide range of facilities that include schools, clinics, a post office, and electricity and water supplies. A boat cruise along the Brunei River is a pleasurable experience and a must for all tourists. Single women should always be accompanied. The Arts and Handicraft Center is situated on the bank of the Brunei River, facing Kampong Air, and, thus commands a panoramic view. It offers a wide selection of locally made silverware, brasserie, and bronzeware crafted and inspired by the rich Malay cultural heritage. The silver, brass, and bronze are hammered and crafted by hand into a variety of articles, such as jugs, trays, gongs, boxes, napkin rings, spoons, threads, bracelets, etc. There are also an assortment of beautifully woven baskets and mats of bamboo and pandan. Brunei, during the 15th century, was a dominant power in the region under its ruler Sultan Bolkiah, the 5th Sultan of Brunei, whose mausoleum rests on the bank of the Brunei River at Kota Batu, near the Brunei Museum. The Brunei Museum is of unique Eastern architecture and is situated on the picturesque bank of the Brunei River. It is about 4 miles from the town center and has a large collection of exhibits, including brassware, bronzeware, Chinese porcelain and ceramics, historical records, and artifacts of the cultural heritage of this country. The beaches at Brunei are fine golden sands with scenic picnic spots. However, rusted debris and broken glass pose serious threats to badly littered areas where the waters are calmer. The beaches facing the South China Sea are substantially cleaner, but bites from sandflies and stings from jellyfish are often a nuisance. Although the above activities are interesting and diverting for a few weeks, they provide no relief from Brunei's climate, both atmospheric and cultural. Entertainment. Brunei, as an entertainment center, is undistinguished. Occasionally, the Music Society and other diplomatic missions sponsor concerts, but legitimate theater, opera, and ballet do not exist in Brunei. The one local movie theater is not a place for family diversion. There are no nightclubs. Art exhibits are held occasionally at the Brunei Museum and foreign missions. Dining out is one of the most popular forms of recreation and entertainment in Brunei. Restaurants are plentiful but expensive. An international hotel, the Sheraton, has dining rooms, a bar currently not used to serving alcoholic beverages, and a coffee shop. Other establishments regularly offer specials on food from foreign countries. Videotape movies are available in Brunei for the VHS system. Quality of recordings is poor. TV and radio services are broadcast in English, Malay, and Chinese on the Brunei Channel. 2 Malaysian TV channels can also be received. Social activities. Many foreigners belong to one or more of the various sports and recreation clubs available in Brunei, such as the yacht club or tennis club. Social life is restricted to home entertainment among members of the diplomatic and business communities. Other cities. A short drive to the northeast of the capital, Jeollabuk is known as the playground of the Sultan. The biggest attraction is the new amusement park which opened in 1994 to celebrate the Sultan's birthday. The park covers 104 hectares with a wide variety of thrill rides and amusements from roller coasters to a calmer carousel. A children's park includes playgrounds, mazes and swings. A large auditorium offers musical entertainment, which has included 2 concerts in 1996 given by Michael Jackson. The musical fountain in the park offers a 20-minute high-tech laser, music and light show every night. Behind the park is Girandong Beach, which offers a lovely site for swimming. Admission to the park and all rides is free. Jeollabuk Park, a grand polo stadium complex with a beautiful equestrian center, a golf course and facilities for trap shooting and croquet, is where the Sultan goes for recreation. However, since entry to the park is by invitation only, you may only get a chance to see it through special tours. There are several fine hotels in this area and tour packages are offered through various agencies. Kuala Belait is a river port situated west of Syria, near the South China Sea. The city is a district capital surrounded by oil fields. There is a government vocational school here, and a coastal road runs eastward toward Bandar Seri Begawan. Kuala Belait's population is approximately 25,000. Syria is a major oil center of some 24,000 residents, located on the South China Sea coast about 40 miles southwest of Bandar Seri Begawan. This is also the headquarters of Brunei's only oil and gas corporation, Brunei Shell Petroleum. The oil produced in the region has supplied most of the funds used in the country's growth. Country profile. Geography and climate. Brunei occupies 3,459 miles on the northern coast of the island of Borneo and is 350 statute miles north of the equator at 5 times N, 115 times E. It comprises 2 separate areas, the capital area and a thinly populated enclave to the east, consisting mostly of jungle. Separating the two is the salient of the Malaysian State of Sarawak, which on the landward side surrounds both parts of Brunei. The North Shore is on the South China Sea. From the 14th to the 16th century, Brunei was the center of a powerful empire covering most of the northern part of the island of Borneo and extending north through the Philippines to Manila. By the 19th century, much of Brunei's empire had been whittled away by piracy, wars, and the spread of European nations into the Far East. By the end of the 19th century, Brunei was a British protectorate, and, in 1906, the British residence system was introduced. The discovery of major oil fields in the western end of the state in the 1920s brought economic stability to Brunei and created a new style of life for the population. Constitutionally, Brunei was regulated by an agreement with Britain that was concluded in 1959 and was amended in 1971. By this agreement, the state was internally self-governing, with Britain looking after only foreign affairs and having a consultative role in external defense. In 1984, Brunei resumed full sovereign status and assumed responsibility for its own defense and foreign affairs. The country has joined the UN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, and the Organization of the Islamic Conference. Brunei is a small oil and gas producing state. The oil and gas fields are centered in the towns of Syria and Kuala Belait, 67 miles southwest of the capital. Other large towns are Tutong, which is midway between Bandar Seri Begawan and Kuala Belait, and Bangor in the Temburong district. The country is mainly primary and secondary tropical rainforest with only a narrow coastal strip from Kuala Belait to Bandar Seri Begawan cultivated. The rainforest produces as much as 146 inches of rain to the interior, but only about 108 inches a year is recorded on the coast. The climate is equatorial with uniform temperatures and high humidity. Brunei has no personal income tax, and the people enjoy, among other things, free education and medical care. Population. Of a total population of approximately 331,000, 64% are Malays, 20% are Chinese, and 16% are non-Malay indigenous people, mainly Ibans and Jusans, as well as several other minor tribal groupings. Europeans make up a small percentage of the population. Malay is the official language, but English is spoken almost everywhere in the state. The Chinese community speaks Hokkien. Other languages and dialects include Hakka, Cantonese, Mandarin, and Hindi. Public institutions. Brunei is a traditional Islamic monarchy, with supreme political power vested in the Sultan. He is assisted and advised by the four councils: the Privy Council, the Religious Council, the Council of Cabinet Ministers and the Council of Succession. All members are appointed by the Sultan. The Sultan presides over the cabinet as Prime Minister and also holds the positions of Minister of Defense and Minister of Finance. Brunei's legal system is based on English common law, with an independent judiciary, a body of written common law judgments and statutes, and legislation enacted by the Sultan. Arts, science, and education. Brunei has 177 primary schools and 29 secondary schools, including non-government schools. Children begin school at age 5, and education is available for 10 years, 6 years for primary and 4 years for lower secondary. However, no programs or facilities exist for disabled children or for handicapped children. Brunei's education system has been extended since 1985 by the foundation of the nation's own university, the University of Brunei Darussalam. Currently, the university has 4 faculties: education, science, arts, and social science and management. The small population and the need to build up generalist skills rapidly is reflected upon the university's decision to concentrate initially on only these few selected disciplines. The development of degree courses such as law, medicine, dentistry, engineering, and accounting were not deemed economically justifiable, since they are readily available overseas. The university's academic staff is mainly non-Bruneian. Other institutions at tertiary level include an agricultural training center and various technical institutes. These are designed to meet skill shortages. Many schools for expatriate children are located in Brunei, including the International School, where instruction is in English, and missionary schools. Currently, schooling is available from kindergarten through grade 6. The International School is considering opening a grade 7 class, but this is still in the planning stage. Commerce and industry. Oil and natural gas, the economic backbone of the country, represent 9% of the total exports of Brunei and 56% of its gross domestic product. Some 31% of Brunei's petroleum and 6 million tons of liquefied natural gas are exported to Japan annually. Apart from oil and gas, forestry is playing an increasing role in the country's economy. The government is also placing greater emphasis on agricultural development to enable the country to reduce its dependence on the importation of foodstuffs. Transportation. Local. Most Bruneians own cars, and as a result, public transport and taxis are not in great demand, although buses operate between the major centers. Chauffeur-driven or rental cars are available for hire through major hotels or the airport. Taxis are not metered, and fares, though negotiable, are expensive. The fare from the airport to Bandar Seri Begawan varies from about $12 to $29, depending on taxi availability and the driver's whim. Water taxis are the most common form of transport in Kampong Air, Brunei's renowned water village. Regular water taxis and boat services ply the routes between Bandar Seri Begawan, Bangor, Limbang, and Sarawak, Labuan, and some towns in the Malaysian state of Sabah. But single women should be accompanied when using these services. Regional. Air transportation is commonly used for destinations outside Brunei. Several international airlines and the national airline, Royal Brunei Airlines, serves Brunei. Communications. Telephone and telegraph. Local telephone calls are free, except by public phone booth. Long-distance telephone, fax, and telegraph service to the U.S. is good but expensive. Use of public phones requires the pre-purchase of a calling card, because the phones are not coin-operated. Radio and TV. The government-owned Radio Television Brunei, RTB, broadcasts daily on AM and FM from 6:30 AM to 10 PM, with programs in English, Malay, and Chinese. Programs are varied and international news is reported twice a day, at 12:15 PM and 9:15 PM. One local TV channel and 2 Malaysian channels are received. Brunei programs, which have included some award-winning documentaries, comprise about 40% of programming. Other ASEAN countries, Australia, the UK, and the US import the remaining 60%. CNN headline news is broadcast 6 days a week, from 7 to 7:30 PM via Malaysian TV. Ownership of satellite dishes is strictly regulated. The TV system is PAL as opposed to the NTSC system used in the US. Newspapers, magazines, and technical journals. Western publications are available. Occasionally, censored copies of Time and Newsweek are available at local vendors. The ASEAN edition of Reader's Digest is also available. Other U.S. magazines appear on the newsstands about a month late and at a price 2 or 3 times their U.S. price. Many outdated magazines are available at newsstands. One English-language newspaper, the Borneo Bulletin, is published weekly in Brunei. International newspapers available daily include the Straits Times, Singapore, the New Straits Times, Malaysia, the Asian Wall Street Journal, and the International Herald Tribune. A limited selection of American and British books on various subjects is available in selected bookshops at 50 to 100% above publisher prices. The library downtown has a collection of books in English. Health and medicine. Medical facilities. Health services are free for Brunei citizens with a nominal charge for permanent residents and expatriates. Healthcare is a 3-tier system, with health clinics providing primary care, health centers providing secondary care, and district hospitals providing tertiary and specialized care. The most important medical facility in Brunei is the 550-bed Central Referral Hospital in Bandar Seri Begawan, known as Rajastri Penjaran and Aksalia Hospital, Ripos Hospital. This hospital, built at $95 million, provides diagnostic and therapeutic facilities for the entire country. Most doctors and dentists in the country are non-Western expatriates. For specialized care, patients are sent abroad. Routine dentistry is available. Opticians and optometrists are available, and there are many doctors in private practice. Bring an extra set of glasses or contact lenses, if needed, from the U.S. if you or a family member are taking long-term medications or allergy injections. Bring a supply and arrange beforehand for regular refills. Community health. Respiratory infections, colds, coughs, sore throats, etc., lead the list of common complaints. Middle ear and external ear infections, sinusitis, and bronchitis are not uncommon. Sanitation of human waste has improved over the years. However, other waste carried by contaminated water often runs in the open storm drainage system, resulting in chronic unpleasant odors. Some town and residential areas are marred by indiscriminate dumping of waste and garbage. The municipal department provides garbage collection services for about $9 a month to most residential areas. Although scheduled regularly, this service is often intermittent. Preventive measures. Clean fruits and vegetables well before eating. Cook meat thoroughly. Insect control is rudimentary. Malaria suppressants are not necessary in Brunei. Notes for travelers. Passage, customs, and duties. Most travel to Brunei is by air. Several airlines provide direct, non-stop flights to Brunei on most weekdays from Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Thailand, the Philippines, and Hong Kong. Some of the more popular international airlines serving Brunei are Singapore, Thai, Malaysian, and Philippines Airlines. The most direct route from the U.S. to Brunei is via the west coast, with connections made at any Asian cities serving Brunei. U.S. passport holders may take advantage of Brunei's participation in the Visa Waiver Pilot Program, VWPP, which allows visitors to Brunei for business or pleasure to obtain visas upon arrival for up to 90 days at no charge. The existing airport tax upon arrival, departure is Brunei $12. For further information about entry requirements, travelers may consult the Consular section of the Embassy of Brunei, 3520 International Court, North. W, Washington, D.C., 20008, tel. 202-342-0159, www.embassy.org web link. Brunei customs authorities enforce strict regulations concerning the temporary import or export of items such as firearms, religious materials and alcohol. For non-Muslims, very limited amounts of alcohol for personal consumption are permitted, that is, 12 bottles of beer and 2 bottles of wine/spirits. It is advisable to contact the Embassy of Brunei in Washington for specific information regarding customs requirements. Brunei has a mandatory death penalty for many narcotics offenses. Under the current law, possession of heroin and morphine derivatives of more than 15 grams, and cannabis of more than 20 grams, carries the death penalty. Possession of lesser amounts carries a minimum 20-year jail term and caning. Americans living in or visiting Brunei are encouraged to register in person or via telephone or fax at the Consular section of the U.S. Embassy in Bandar Seri Begawan and obtain updated information on travel and security within the country. The U.S. Embassy is located on the 3rd floor, Takuan Plaza, Jalan Sultan, in the capital city of Bandar Seri Begawan. The U.S. mailing address is American Embassy, PSC 470. BSB, FPOAP, 96507. The telephone number is 673-2229-670, fax number 673-2225-293 and email address amimspat@brunet.bn. The after-hours number for emergency calls is 673-8-730-691. Pets. Travelers coming to Brunei with pets must request entry for the pet by writing to Veterinary Officer, Veterinary Clinic, Ministry of Agriculture, Bandar Seri Begawan, Brunei Darussalam. Included the letter, all particulars about the pet and a health certificate. The clinic requires at least 2 weeks' notice before the pet's arrival. Quarantine is not required for pets arriving from England, New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, and other parts of Borneo. If arriving from other parts of the world, The pet is quarantined for about 2 weeks. No fee is imposed for incoming pets, but an outgoing fee of $1 is charged for each pet. Pets must arrive in Brunei as cargo. Currency, banking and weights and measures. The monetary unit of Brunei is the ringgit, dollar, which is issued in notes of 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, 500, 1,000, and 10,000. The coins are in the denominations of 5, 10, 20, and 50 cents. Currently, $1 is equivalent to about $1.70. The exchange rate fluctuates daily. The Brunei dollar is at par with the Singapore dollar, and the currencies are interchangeable in both countries. Brunei uses the metric system of weights and measures. Gasoline is sold by the liter, temperatures are cited in degrees Celsius, and distances are measured in kilometers. U.S. citizens living in or visiting Brunei may register in person or via telephone with the U.S. Embassy in Bandar Seri Begawan and obtain updated information on travel and security within the country. The U.S. Embassy is located in Takuan Plaza, 3rd floor, Jalan Sultan, in Bandar Seri Begawan. The mailing address is American Embassy PSC 470, BSP, FPOAP, 96534. The telephone number is 673-2-229-670. The fax number is 673-2-225-293. Brunei, Listening/Brunei/Brunei, officially the nation of Brunei, the abode of peace. 10, Malay, Negara Brunei Darussalam, Jai, is a sovereign state located on the north coast of the island of Borneo in Southeast Asia. Apart from its coastline with the South China Sea, the country is completely surrounded by the state of Sarawak, Malaysia. It is separated into two parts by the Sarawak district of Lembang. Brunei is the only sovereign state completely on the island of Borneo. The remainder of the island's territory is divided between the nations of Malaysia and Indonesia. Brunei's population was 408,786 in July 2012. 11. At the peak of the Bruneian Empire, Sultan Bolkiah, reigned 1485 to 1528, is alleged to have had control over most regions of Borneo, including modern-day Sarawak and Sabah, as well as the Sulu archipelago off the northeast tip of Borneo, Selutong, modern-day Manila, and the islands off the northwest tip of Borneo. The maritime state was visited by Spain's Magellan expedition in 1521 and fought against Spain in the 1578 Castile War. During the 19th century, the Bruneian Empire began to decline. The Sultanate ceded Sarawak, Kuching, to James Brooke and installed him as the White Raja, and it ceded Sabah to the British North Borneo Chartered Company. In 1888, Brunei became a British protectorate and was assigned a British resident as colonial manager in 1906. After the Japanese occupation during World War II, in 1959 a new constitution was written. In 1962, a small armed rebellion against the monarchy was ended with the help of the British. 12. Brunei gained its independence from the United Kingdom on January 1, 1984. Economic growth during the 1990s and 2000s, with the GDP increasing 56% from 1999 to 2008, transformed Brunei into an industrialized country. It has developed wealth from extensive petroleum and natural gas fields. Brunei has the second highest Human Development Index among the Southeast Asian nations, after Singapore, and is classified as a developed country. 13. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, Brunei is ranked 5th in the world by gross domestic product per capita at purchasing power parity. The IMF estimated, in 2011, that Brunei was one of two countries, the other being Libya, with a public debt at 0% of the national GDP. Forbes also ranks Brunei as the 5th richest nation out of 182, based on its petroleum and natural gas fields. Etymology. According to legend, Brunei was founded by a Wongilik Bey Tatar, later to be Sultan Muhammad Shah. He moved from Garang, a place in the Temburong district 15, to the Brunei River estuary, discovering Brunei. According to legend, upon landing he exclaimed, "Brunei," loosely translated as "that's it," or "there," from which the name Brunei was derived. 16. He was the first Muslim ruler of Brunei. 17. Before the rise of the Bruneian Empire under the Muslim Bolkiah dynasty, Brunei is believed to have been under Buddhist rulers. 18. It was renamed Brunei in the 14th century, possibly influenced by the Sanskrit word varun, meaning seafarers. 19. The word Borneo is of the same origin. In the country's full name, Negara Brunei Darussalam, Arabic, means abode of peace, while Negara means country in Malay. The earliest recorded documentation by the West about Brunei is by an Italian known as Ludovico di Vardima, who also said the Bruneian people have fairer skin tone than the peoples he met in Maluku Islands. On his documentation back to 1550. We arrived at the island of Brunei or Borneo, which is distant from the Maluku about 200 miles, and we found that it was somewhat larger than the aforesaid and much lower. The people are pagans and are men of goodwill. Their color is whiter than that of the other sort. In this island justice is well administered. Early history. The tomb of the ruler of Borneo in Nanjing, Jiangsu, China. One of the earliest Chinese records is the 977 AD letter to Chinese emperor from the ruler of Borneo, which some scholars believe to refer to Borneo. 21. In 1225, a Chinese official, Shoujukua, Zhou, reported that Borneo had 100 warships to protect its trade, and that there was a lot of wealth in the kingdom. 22. In the 14th century, the Javanese manuscript Nagrakirtigama, written by Perpenka in 1365, mentioned Brunei as the vassal state of Majapahit. 23, which had to make an annual tribute of 40 caddis of camphor. In 1369, the Sulas attacked Borneo, looting it of treasure and gold. A fleet from Majapahit succeeded in driving away the Sulas, but Borneo was left weaker after the attack. 24. A Chinese report from 1371 described Borneo as poor and totally controlled by Majapahit. 25. However, scholars claim that the power of the Sultanate of Brunei was at its peak between the 15th and 17th centuries, with its power extending from northern Borneo to the southern Philippines. 26. By the 16th century, Islam was firmly rooted in Brunei, and the country had built one of its biggest mosques. In 1578, Alonso Beltran, a Spanish traveler, described it as being 5 stories tall and built on the water. 27. War with Spain and decline. European influence gradually brought an end to the regional power, as Brunei entered a period of decline compounded by internal strife over royal succession. Since the Spanish regarded Brunei the center of Islamic preaching in the Philippines. 26. Spain declared war in 1578, planning to attack and capture Kota Batu, Brunei's capital at the time. This was based in part on the assistance of 2 Bruneian noblemen, Pangeran Seri Lila and Pangeran Seri Ratna. The former had traveled to Manila, then the center of the Spanish colony. Manila itself was captured from Brunei and Christianized. Pangeran Seri Lila came to offer Brunei as a tributary to Spain for help to recover the throne usurped by his brother, Saiful Rijl. 28. The Spanish agreed that if they succeeded in conquering Brunei, Pangeran Seri Lila would be appointed as the Sultan, while Pangeran Seri Ratna would be the new Bendahara. In March 1578, the Spanish fleet had arrived from Mexico and settled at the Philippines. They were led by Desand, acting as Capitan General. He organized an expedition from Manila for Brunei. The expedition consisted of 400 Spanish, 1,500 Filipino natives and 300 Borneans. 29. The campaign was one of many, which also included action in Mindanao and Sulu. 30-31. The Spanish invaded the capital on April 16, 1578, with the help of Pangeran Seri Lila and Pangeran Seri Ratna. The Sultan Saiful Rijl and Padaka Seri Bagawa and Sultan Abdul Kahar were forced to flee to Marigang, then to Jayudong. In Jayudong, they made plans to chase the conquering army away from Brunei. suffering high fatalities due to a cholera or dysentery outbreak. 32-33, the Spanish decided to abandon Brunei and return to Manila on June 26, 1578, after 72 days. Before doing so, they burned the mosque, a high structure with the 5-tier roof. 34. Pangeran Seri Leela died in August or September 1578, probably from the same illness suffered by his Spanish allies. There was suspicion he could have been poisoned by the ruling sultan. Seri Leela's daughter, a Bruneian princess, had left with the Spanish. She married a Christian Tagalog, named Agustin de Legazpi de Tondo. 35. The local Brunei accounts 36, differ greatly from the generally accepted view of events. What was called the Castilian War was seen as a heroic episode, with the Spaniards being driven out by Benda Harisakam, purportedly a brother of the ruling sultan, and 1,000 native warriors. Most historians consider this to be a folk hero account, which probably developed decades or centuries after. 37. The country suffered a civil war from 1660 to 1673. British adventurer James Brooke negotiating with the Sultan of Brunei, which led to the signing of the Treaty of Labuan, 1846. British intervention. See also, British Brunei administrators. Boundaries of Brunei, green, since 1890. The British have intervened in the affairs of Brunei on several occasions. Britain attacked Brunei in July 1846 due to internal conflicts over who was the rightful sultan. In the 1880s, the decline of the Bruneian Empire continued. The Sultan granted land, now Sarawak, to James Brooke, who had helped him quell a rebellion and allowed him to establish the Kingdom of Sarawak. Over time, Brooke and his nephews, who succeeded him, leased or annexed more land. Brunei lost much of its territory to him and his dynasty, known as the White Rajas. Sultan Hashim Jalil al-Alam Akhemadin appealed to the British to stop further encroachment by the Brookes. 39. The Treaty of Protection was negotiated by Sir Hulot and signed into effect on September 17, 1888. The treaty said that the Sultan could not cede or lease any territory to foreign powers without British consent. It provided Britain effective control over Brunei's external affairs, making it a British protectorate, which continued until 1984. 26. But, when the Kingdom of Sarawak annexed Brunei's Pandaruan district in 1890, the British did not take any action to stop it. They did not regard either Brunei or the Kingdom of Sarawak as foreign, per the Treaty of Protection. This final annexation by Sarawak left Brunei with its current small landmass and separation into two parts. 40. British residents were introduced in Brunei under the Supplementary Protectorate Agreement in 1906. 41. The residents were to advise the Sultan on all matters of administration. Over time, the resident assumed more executive control than the Sultan. The residential system ended in 1959. 42. Discovery of oil. Petroleum was discovered in 1929 after several fruitless attempts. 43. Two men, F. Marriott and T.G. Cochrane, smelled oil near the Syria River in late 1926. 44. They informed the geophysicist, who conducted a survey there. In 1927, gas seepages were reported in the area. Serial well number